But there's one more very important area that we think about as a steward of God is this. Okay, so you have margin now. Okay, you promise all, you keep all the promise, make promise, and you create margin. Then what? Okay, how do you use that margin? That's the last topic in the stewardship. Just want you to think about three things: one, matching and balancing among margins, and two, use of margins with priority, and third, redemptive use of margin. Stewardship and use of margins. Perhaps this is one of the most important areas for most of Christians. How can we use our free money and time that we created after hours of working, right? It's about, the first step is acknowledging the ownership of God and the margins that we have created in business world. Once you say, it's mine, then you have to skip this, right? You don't have to think about this. But if you know, because I'm his servant, now it's all his. Right? And second, then now you can use these margins wisely according to God's purpose and calling. I love this verse, Matthew chapter 25, verse 45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household to give them their food at the proper time? If you're successful in all other process, but you fail here, okay. Actually that's what's happening to many people. And then we generally fail in stewardship. But I want to broaden your perspective about margin, because margin does not necessarily mean money. Yes, it includes material margins like financial, right, money, right? But also include physical margin. After work like 8 hours per day or 40 hours, 50 hours, then you're totally exhausted. And your physical margin is 0, right? You have strength after all this. And time margin, temporal margin. You have time. And also, when you think about margins, God gives us broader perspective. It's more than just material margin, but non-material margins. Mental versus spiritual margins. Or sometimes you work years and years and learn nothing. Sometimes, by working in workplace with God, you learn so many things. That's your developmental margins. And also God, I think I showed you about this verse, but there's a heavenly margin too. There's earthly margin, but when you use it for God's purpose, it's stored in heaven, right? So think about that too. So again, the Bible doesn't say margin is wrong, but simply God have broader perspectives about margins, and He wants us to wisely manage those different areas of margins for God and in His ways. And also, I just want to think about, there are some different callings. So many, but I'm going to simplify these things with 3 things. 1, Christian worker, and Christian worker. We have 3 kinds of people. But first people emphasizes goes Christian. Actually, one of my friend is a professor in Temple University, Professor Yu. He actually shared about this, and then I was very inspired. That's why I want to share this with you. And second group of people is Christian worker, but emphasis goes the second, the work. And third group of people, emphasis goes both. The first group of people is someone really care about Christianity, missions, and all kind of ministry, and actually, but don't care about work. Work is just means for ministry. His heart, his calling is there. Children, poor, mission, And second group of people, and first group of people, they want to even give up their job for God, right? The second group of people is different. They're Christian, God's children, but their heart is work. How to bring the kingdom of God in my work right now, and passion. They have so much fun in what he's doing, and they experience God is working in their job right away, right? Third group of people is kind of strange people and also complicated people. Try to make those things together, integrate. My question is, which group is the best group of people? Third, the strange people? Or three. Yes, it's calling. You cannot say, the first group say, you are not devoted. You need to do God's work, right? You can't say that. You can't. This is God. Sometimes God gives you heart for mission. Something happens in the world. I want to create as much margin as possible and try to help as possible. Sometimes you're called into your calling is more into your workplace right now. And you experience God right there, right? But someone is called to make a bridge between those two worlds. The first group of people, because they have a lot of connections in the other area, because their heart is there, but they have less influence in the workplace, usually. Second group of people, they have a lot of resources in work, connections in the workplace, but because their heart is there, but not much in the other field. These people is kind of strange, both sides. But when those three group of people work together, when they value each other, it's going to be a fantastic team, right? That means, we connect everywhere. The reason that I talk about this is this. We need to kind of, because I have seen a lot of people struggle with this calling. For example, the first group of people, my heart is mission, or, and then, there's no margin there's no time and money. Then, my heart is, teaching Bibles. That means you need the time, right? Physical energy, but after work 12 hours, just exhausted, no time and no vacation, then you have strong inner conflict in your life when there's a mismatch. So think about whether your job really matches with your calling. More non-financial margins are required for those looking for Christian ministries outside of their jobs. You cannot say you're wrong, okay? It's about you and God's relationship. So we need, and also we need a lot of balancing activities, balancing between different types of margins. God doesn't say, you only do one thing, right? God values both, between mental and physical margin versus financial margins. Some jobs, I heard that in Europe, if you first hired in Europe, they work 60 or 80 hours per week, something like that. It's like workaholic, right? Or in Korea, if you're hired in Samsung, there's no weekend. That's possible. Then even if you are paid a lot, you have no time whatsoever. And also balance between present and future margins, and between material and non-material margins. Think about the balance between different types of margins in your life. And also, can you hear me? Everybody? You can hear me, right? We need to also use our margins with priority, because there's some kind of priority
the Bible mentioned. One is, simple principle. Give Caesars what is Caesar's. Do you remember the debate between Jesus and Pharisees? Which means pay for what you owe to others and the society. We kind of somehow owe the social system here. Which means God wants us to pay that. It includes like taxes and fees and interest and community services. Especially Korean Christians doesn't involve in community services. Do you know that? They're so busy in church. So God says, before you come to me, you do this first, right? That's what Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 said, right? So before do anything, if you owe anything, that's your first thing to do. And then give God what is God's. Okay? It doesn't have to be a money, right? It's about set apart, for to God what He has called you to do or give. It can be your services, your time, your offering, and ministries, and fellowships in your church. You know that. Only you know that because it's only God can do this. If God wants to do this, set apart and do it for Him. And then also it's important to give some part to yourself. Okay? Workers deserves his wages. Each of you should look not only to your own interest, but also to the interest of others. Which means you also need to think about your own interest too. It includes your time and resources for you and your family. You need rest. That's why God does, instituted the.
Because God understands we need rest. You need rest before God, and you need family. So you need to invest yourself because times are the business world is changing every day. If you don't keep up with it, you're falling behind. That's a big issue now. Really. You're a best man right now, but after 10 years, no longer. Right? So you need to keep investing yourself. This all included there. So I'm going to give you an assignment during this lunchtime when you eat gimbap. Yay! I'm going to pass out this. It's about, what happened last week. You just record, how many hours you use certain things. But what is your ideal time and what's the difference? And second, also check the balance between different kinds of margins. Do it individually first and then share among the okay? Because this is really, this is real issue. We are so busy. From even children, I went to Korea this summer. Wow, average 학원 6 to 7. Okay, this is just from children to 할아버지. They're all busy. They're doing something else. The reason is they feel like they have to be busy. There's no specific reason. They feel like there's an emptiness or fear. And to feel the fear and the emptiness, they just keep themselves so busy just because they don't want to think about anything. This is the problem. So what happened to my margins? Like after all of these things, like feeling like nothing left. Too busy, too many things to do, no time to even think. Even you're successful in all of this process, but we can be easily lost because so many commitments, so many things going on in your life. I love this. If everything is important, nothing is. So as a believers, okay, it's very important. Please simplify your life. And make a room for God, make yourself available for Him. Really good Christians, when they look at their lives, they are busy too, but they never sacrifice important time for unimportant time. They have always room available. Question is this: are you available? When God said, "Hey, Mr. Kim, I need you," oh God, I'm so busy. I do this, right? You can say, this is very important. If you don't have that, then you stop there. You can do well in worship, you can do well in stewardship, but you can't go more because you have nothing left in your life. Just stop there. I'm really touched by Yusang's testimony this morning. That's very important. It's not don't let other people drive your life. It's you and God. Stay in the middle and make the decision. Sometimes you have to say sorry and no, I'm sorry, I can't. You make the decision with God and take control over your margin. Otherwise, someone else will drive your life. Even you have no time to think. You realize that 10 years passed. Feel like it's all wasting because you're driven by someone else. So as a member, so when God said, I want to use this, then, oh God, here we go. Here we go. That's the redemptive margin they're talking about. When we have this, and when God puts you in a certain moment, in certain time in business world, it's strange. It's not always happen, but sometimes you know that God put you there for this moment. Ask you to pay the cost. Redemption, the definition of redemption is this: taking back. It's yours, but you have to take back or recover one's own. But it's not, Jesus, when Jesus take you back, it's not like you're just saying, okay, I'm going to take you back. I'm going to forgive everything. Just come to me. No, He paid the cost. That's the redemption. Someone had to pay the cost. It's not like a free forgiveness. In order for Him to take you back, He paid the cost. The same thing. If you want to take the business world back to God, someone had to pay the cost. It's not free. No margin means nothing to pay. Means no redemption. This issue I'm going to cover again. This is the most important thing in the leadership. So I'm going to exclusively cover this topic in the leadership part. Okay? So I'm not going to do this today. But one question: are you available? Are you available? Are you trusting? Are you available? Time for lunch. 1 minute, 2 minutes, okay? Now forget about your own stewardship, but think about how to bring our stewardship into the business world. Okay? Let's give you 2 ideas. Intrinsic responsibility. Stewardship is this. If someone trusts you, so entrust you something important, right? God trusts us, so He entrusts us with earth. That's the core of stewardship. Someone give you a chance. Someone gave you a chance. My brother, when he made a big hit in the movie, he interviewed with reporters, and one thing that struck me is this. You're great, and he said, no. Until I came here, someone gave me a chance. There's many people gave me a chance. Because of them, I'm here. Same thing to me. I tried to get study as a doctor in a doctoral program, but there's no hope. I feel like like I'm going back to Korea because there's no way I can admit it to doctoral program. My objectively, nothing seemed to work. Almost gave up. But one person looked at my potential and gave me a chance. Otherwise, I may not be here. You know, in your life, someone gave you a chance. Someone trusted you enough when nobody else trusted you. So that the person can stand as a steward. Someone is responsible for his home. Right? We can do this. That's all the stewardship minister you can do in your workplace. Give a chance. But I'm not suggesting you dump a chance, dump responsibility. When someone is not ready, he's not ready, dump the responsibility. So this person is killed, all the researchers are killed. You know that it happens in church a lot of time. Just dump responsibility. No. But when you see the person is able to take it, give the chance. Second, interest resources, microfinancing. I want to show you a really funny video. But I'm going to play this in the lunchtime, so you can go and our lunch and watch the video. It's about, you heard about the microfinance, but do you know you can do that? $25, $25. This is the Kiva loans, and they help people, poor people in 60 countries. You can lend money as little as $25. Now, they have like 600,000 people, $200 million. But you know what? It's not giving away. If you put $25, a couple of months later, money comes back to you. You're not losing money. But you give chance to people to stand as a steward. It's not a giving away. It's totally different story. So I'm going to play this video while you're having lunch. So, lunchtime.